And now from McAllen City Hall, a meeting of the McAllen City Commission.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's City Commission meeting. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by Commissioner Tony Aguirre.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bow our heads, Lord. We thank you for another great day. We ask you to use our bodies as instruments for your will. We ask you to bless our area, our great city, and those that are in need. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And before we start, since we're probably not going to see each other again till next month, we just want to wish our commissioner, Pepe Cabeza de Vaca, will be celebrating his birthday on May the 4th. And we won't tell his age.
That's right, Mr. Mayor. On the same,
Thank you, Mayor.
On the same vein, I also like, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and everybody know, that we also have a very special birthday. Our very own Mayor, Javier Villalobos, will be celebrating her birthday on May 6th, and we wish him well on another year of life and many blessings to him.
Thank you. And we won't say the age either.
Yeah, we won't say the age.
Well, May 4th, May 5th, I'll celebrate May 5 de Mayo.
There you go. Let's see, we have a proclamation, World Wish Day, Commissioner Cabeza de Vaca.
Véngase, comadre. Good afternoon. State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, City of McAllen. Whereas on April 29, 1980, the Department of Public Safety officers and members of the community in Phoenix, Arizona, came together to grant the wish of Chris Gracious, a 7-year-old boy battling leukemia who wished to be a police officer. And whereas Chris, which inspired 6 of the people involved to form a foundation that will grant life-changing wishes for other children with critical illness. The organization known as Make-A-Wish has since granted more than 520,000 wishes worldwide, operating in every community in the U.S. and nearly 50 countries worldwide. And whereas Make-A-Wish Rio Grande Valley was founded in 1997 and has granted more than 1,530 wishes that deliver hope and joy back into the lives of children with critical illness in the Rio Grande Valley. And whereas research has shown that wishes can improve a child's quality of life and produce better health outcomes. When a wish is granted, a child replaces fear with confidence, anxiety with hope, and sadness with joy. Now thereof, I, Pepe Cabeza de Vaca, City Commissioner of the City of McAllen, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested in me and on behalf of the Mayor and the City Commission, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2023 as World Wish Day. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you so much, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Becky Ramirez-Gerhardt, and I am the CEO of Make-A-Wish Rio Grande Valley, and I have Erica de la Cruz, who is our Director of Wishes of Make-A-Wish Rio Grande Valley. And we're so thankful that we're celebrating World Wish Day. When Chris Gracious's wish was granted in 1980, he never thought that this was going to inspire a worldwide vision of changing children's lives and the community's lives. When a wish is granted to a child, we get to see this little bit of joy and a little bit of hope brought back into their everyday. The children that we work with are those with critical illnesses, and we grant wishes for children in Hidalgo, Cameron, Willacy, Brooks, Starr, and Kennedy counties. So we have a large area. And when we grant a wish to a child, they can wish to go somewhere, wish to be someone, be an actor, be a policeman, wish to have something, or wish to, what am I forgetting? Wish to go, have, be, and meet. And so we get to have this moment of joy in their life and bring the community together. So we're so thankful that you're celebrating with us. The actual World Wish Day is April 29th, which is this Saturday. And I believe that we will have representatives from the city out at our walk for World Wish Day. And we invite you all to come out to join us. It's going to be at Tres Lagos. We're going to be granting a wish together because every chapter in the world grants a wish on this day. So we get to do that together out at Tres Lagos. And I hope you all will join us. We are going to be giving the mayor and commissioners and anybody who wants them a star that we all wear that's a Make-A-Wish star, and it helps us reminds us that we bring a little bit of light into a child's life in their time of darkness. These glow in the dark, so if you all have kids, they're really fun. So, but thank you all so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And next we have another proclamation. El Cerda Day, and I'll have the honor.
Who is that? Who is that?
The whole team.
Bobby, everybody.
Everybody,
Everybody, go ahead.
I know you.
Now, what an honor to read this proclamation. I think probably everybody knows who Elba is. She's been around for a while, and a lot of the times, she tries to tell us what to do. But we appreciate it. Anyway, whereas the Texas chapter of the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials has awarded Elba Cerda as Commissioner of the Year. Cerda has served in the McAllen Housing Authority Board since 2015 and was elected Vice Chair in 2018, and while serving on 3 committees simultaneously. In her years of service, Elba has assisted in the development of a new maintenance building along with the first public housing to rental assistance demonstration enhancements to the authority's finance. Hold on a second. They make it a little long sometimes. She has assisted in making enhancements to the authority's financial related reporting and is always accessible for any other projects or tasks which require her guidance. One of her primary goals is to elevate the work and projects of the McAllen Housing Authority and in continuing to serve our residents and community proudly. Elba knows the importance of education, and her goal is for young participants to achieve growth and economic independence. Ms. Cerda works closely with the annual McAllen Housing Authority Scholarship Committee, which helps graduating high school students and the Public Housing and Housing Choice Voucher Program with educational advancements. A former long-term commercial banker in McAllen, Elba now serves as Executive Director and as founder of the McAllen Heritage Museum Center, where she manages all of operations at the museum she helped bring to fruition. The city of McAllen acknowledges and wishes to express its gratitude for Elba's dedication to the McAllen community and years of public service. Now, therefore, I, Javier Villalobos, Mayor of the City of McAllen, by virtue of the authority vested in me, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the day of April the 24th as Elba M. Cerda Day. Congratulations.
I'm going to keep it short. I want to thank y'all for giving us this time today, this proclamation. I'm very proud to have received this on behalf of the Housing Authority because it's a state recognition, and that elevates what we do in McAllen for our residents. I want to dedicate the award to the current Board of Commissioners headed up by our chair, Ronnie Cruz. I want to thank former Mayor Jim Darling because he got me into this many years ago, and Jim has always been a supporter, as is our current mayor, of affordable housing initiatives. Daniel Delgado is our executive deputy director. Thank you, Josh, for being here, the Chamber of Commerce President. Rudy Ramirez, el mero mero, our ED. Another one that's gotten me in lots of trouble, Bobby Calvillo with Affordable Homes of South Texas. Because as an advocate, because I grew up in this city and I know how these initiatives were so needed. I was around when they got started back in 1976, not in 1929, but my dad or somebody was here. But anyway, I just want to say that what we do needs to be known by the community, because what we do is beautiful. We do beautiful developments, and we want to do as much as we can to remove that negative, that stigma that people feel when they talk about subsidized housing. Not in McAllen. You drive by any of our developments, and they're beautifully maintained, and we take very good care of our residents here in McAllen with the support of our commissioners, our mayor, and then our wonderful staff. And the staff that isn't here with us today, they do the daily operations that, you know, get everything done. So this is very gratifying to me, but it's not about me. It's about the team. It's about our housing authority here in McAllen. So please spread the word. Get to know us. Go to our website. See what we do. Let's get rid of the negative feelings about subsidized housing. And I promise you, we're going to continue to do good work for the community, so you can stay proud of what we do. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Arnold, did Jim want to say something? We can ask Jim if he wanted to say something.
Jim always wants to say something. Come on.
If you don't mind.
You put a mic in front of me, I run right up there. But no, I want to, you know, it's such a great city when you think about it. The honest, hardworking, and dedicated city commissioners we always come up with election people, but also all the great boards we have. If you ever took a look at all the boards we have in McAllen, they stand out. They get national awards, they get state awards, and these are all dedicated people like Alva who really spend a great deal of their time, but they share their talent. And so it's very proud of you, Alva, to see you. I've seen you, I'm still on a couple of boards with you, and when Alva says something, you listen to it. And that proves that, and it shows with that award, and so she's very deserving of it, as are many, many of our other volunteers in the city of McAllen to make our city better every day. So Alva, congratulations. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was asleep at the wheel. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'll just temporarily start and go ahead and call this meeting to order. Public hearing. Mr. City Manager, take us away.
Yes, sir. We've got Edgar Garcia with the routine items.
Sir, Mayor, Commissioners, tonight we have 4 items listed under routine. 2 rezonings and 2 conditional use permits. As always, they come with a favorable recommendation from Planning and Zoning and had no opposition. They can be approved in one motion or discussed separately as desired. They are a rezone from C3 to R3A at 608 South 15th, a rezone from R1 to R2 at 3500 Mile 6.5 Road, a conditional use permit amendment for life of the use at 516 and 601 East Beach, and a conditional use permit amendment for 1 year for a food truck park at 4900 Tres Lagos Boulevard.
Very well. We've heard from the planning director, Mr. Garcia. All these items under items 1A, 1 through 4 come with a favorable recommendation. Is there any one here in opposition to the relief being requested by each of the applicants as to these items? These are in fact routine items and come with a favorable recommendation.
Move to approve.
Quick question. On the Tres Lagos, that's the existing food park, right?
It's existing, they're just adding time and days.
They're adding what?
Time, so they're extending their hours of operation and then adding some more days that weren't in the original food truck park application.
Okay, I mean, I think it's a pretty secure, it was built to be a food truck park within kind of their park grounds. Correct. It's off the main road. Mm-hmm. Could we not approve that for 3 years, 5 years?
They certainly can. They didn't apply for it that way,
okay.
For whatever reason.
I would second the motion.
Can we amend it?
I don't think so, because that's not the way it was advertised, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item B.
This is a rezoning from C3 to R3A at 604 South 11. This property is located on the west side of South 11th, 50 feet south of Fresno. It is zoned C3. Adjacent zoning is C3 to the north, west, south, and R3A to the east. Surrounding uses include apartments and a law office. The applicant is requesting R3A for a 4-unit development. Development trend for this area of South 11 is apartments with some commercial developments as well. Staff did receive a couple of calls in opposition citing parking, property values, and wanting the property to stay commercial. The item was presented at the April 4th Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. There was no opposition at that meeting, and it was unanimously recommended for approval.
Anybody here to speak against the item? Commission?
Make a motion to approve item
Second.
B1.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Next item.
Sir, this is a rezoning from C3L to C3 at 5301 North Ware. This property is located on Ware, approximately 200 feet south of Dove. It is currently zoned C3L. Adjacent zoning is R1 to the north, south, and west, C3L to the east. Surrounding uses include single-family homes as well as commercial plazas. The applicant is requesting C3 for expanded commercial uses. Development trend for this section of Ware is single-family homes as well as commercial plazas. Staff did receive one phone call in opposition citing property values and the possibility of a bar opening up. The item was presented at the April 4th Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. There was no opposition at that meeting, and it was unanimously recommended for approval.
Anybody here to speak against the issue, the item? Commission?
Where was the location of this rezoning again?
It's on Ware, just south of Dove.
Yeah, and the zoning, existing zoning is C,
C3L, light commercial.
light commercial,
Yes, sir.
and this would be commercial.
Correct.
On my packet, I did not get the memo description. It's site 604 South 11th.
No, but it seems that everything is C3 around it, according to the zoning map.
It mostly is, it's all commercial, and with a smattering of residential as well, yes, sir.
A couple of
There.
residentials, but mostly I see C3. So
See, along Ware, you're gonna find mostly commercial, sir.
I want to make a motion to approve.
So it's mostly C3L that's around there.
In that specific location, yes. As you continue to go south, it turns C3 just regular, and then as you go north, I guess past Lark, you start seeing C3 just regular.
Regular.
C3. Correct.
What can you put in a C3L?
C3L, it's going to be just your offices, like medical offices, and you can do restaurants that only have 25% or less alcohol, as well as some just light retail, basically.
Because it does surround
Correct.
residence.
Right, and that's the concern because it's going to back up to, on three sides to a residence, and the frontage is going to be to Ware Road. I'm somewhat now familiar with this area. You got like a 200 lot subdivision to the north, a continuation to the west. You got a newer subdivision to the south. I think it's Silver Creek, if I'm not mistaken. And Ware Road is a very, very heavily trafficked area, especially, this is right between Dove and Buddy Owens? Correct?
Yes, sir.
You know, I do have some concerns
Why is giving me?
because of the amount of traffic that Ware Road already carries and generates.
Here, it is giving me this.
Luckily, there's already a median there, so the traffic will be one entry, one, using the same entry and exit, right? But my concern, I know that there will probably be a requirement of either concrete
That's what
or
threw me off.
oblique.
Definitely, an 8-foot masonry wall
Masonry
wherever,
wall.
wherever it meets residential zones, yes, sir.
And there was no one from any of the residents that were?
There was only one person. They specifically cited possibility of a bar. To that, I will say a conditional use permit would be required if they have a bar. So obviously, they would get notified, and there would be some public hearings.
And this is about 200 feet south of the intersection?
Of Dove.
I just think it's too close to that neighborhood. I'm very familiar with it. It's a lot of single-family homes, a lot of young families there in that area.
Well, a lot of the things that we're moving to is also a little bit of mixed use.
Can you
to
put
mix it up.
the zoning map in, because in our packages,
Yeah, it's
it,
not showing up.
it jumps
That's
to,
the
Package is wrong, yeah.
yeah, to 11th Street. So that's why I got kind of like,
Yeah.
I saw C3 around, but it was at the 11th Street.
C3, yeah, no.
Because
once
in
you
our
go
package is different.
South, yeah, once you go south to Buddy Owens, it is C3, and then once you go north past Lark, it will be your regular C3 as well.
I see now the difference. I'm going to receive my motion on that one.
Maybe if
I
it was,
got
if the lot.
The other map.
Yeah,
It was different.
the plot was, or the plat was different where you put that commercial right at the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think as a city and even the comprehensive plan, we're trying to push where the commercial or light commercial elements or rezoning are cornered right at the intersection and not this way.
Yeah, and I like the C3L, in which, you could have offices, you could have
Right.
something like that. We're getting hit with noise pollution type scenario there, and you've got you're surrounded on three sides.
Right.
Of residential.
It is encroaching too much into it. It's like right netted into it,
I'm all
Well,
for
it is on Ware Road, and
Yeah, but you have a residential entrance just north of there, and I think that's my concern. As opposed to the property right across the street, it goes the full length from the
All the way to
corner south. And then that's more appropriate, and that was built before that multifamily to the south is there.
That's also C3L.
Correct.
Because
yeah,
that's
C3
storage
across the
and-
street too.
Yeah, storage.
No, that, is it?
It's C3L, yes, sir.
It's
It's
C3L,
C3L.
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So you're setting a precedent for the area too, you know.
No, that's why I think C3L works.
Yeah, C3L is more appropriate as it is now. But to go to C3, you know, it opens up another,
And we do have the property owner here in
Right.
place.
To Edgar's point, anyone that wanted to do something with the CUP would have their own set of
Right.
hearings and battles, right? All those residents would get notified. Because in C3L, could you even put like a little small restaurant, ice cream shop?
You can put an ice cream
Yes.
shop, yes.
Yes.
Restaurant,
Something without
yes.
Actually, it's a restaurant with 25% of sales of alcohol, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Guys, we gotta be careful about not being the booze patrol. If you look at the north side, we have some beautiful developments that people were a little bit against, and that's what we're talking about. They're in Auburn. Those places are full. I live just north of it, and I love it. People love it. I mean, we have to, I guess, be business friendly. We have to be careful too, of course, but at the very end, this is Ware Road.
right.
This is Ware Road, and it's
Yeah.
kind of difficult to go in there and tell somebody, yes, you own this property, but we're gonna dictate what you can or can't do. We can to an extent,
Right.
but, I mean, gotta be careful.
But when if you're trying to draw the comparison like 10th Street, I mean, you have a setback that's what, 300 feet away from 10th Street? And you have to, especially on the east side, you have the northeast blue line dividing the residential neighborhoods. Here you don't have that, right? And if you go up and down Ware Road, yes, as you get to the Buddy Owens node, you have commercial, you have CL3, you have Lone Star, you have the Burger King, you have what used to be the Stripes, you have a new Circle K. But as you're going up, you're hitting all residential. And then once you pass Dove, it's all residential. You get the backs of the residents, right? And then you get the street entrances, and then you have a school, and then you do have one restaurant, and then you get 4 Mile. But for predominantly that area between Dove and 5 Mile, they're all residential entrances, except for that area right at Dove and Ware Road. So that's my concerns, at this point. And sure, I'd like to hear from the proponent.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good
My name is
afternoon.
Kevin Rios. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. The reason why we want to get the C3 and not the C3L, my mom's actually here with me. She, for many years, she did events. She does like baby showers and stuff like that. In order for the project to make sense for us to develop the retail center there, we need the conditional use permit for the event center. For the event center, what we have planned, obviously, you guys mentioned some concerns about noise. So not only do we want to have our neighbors, comfortable with us and say, hey, if you have any concerns, please let us know if it's too loud, if it's this or that. But we also have to keep in mind that as landlords, we have tenants on the other side of the wall. So we have to make sure that we're not in the way of their business itself. We have no interest in selling alcohol. We have no interest in having bars. We need this to be a family-friendly place, a place that people can go and spend time with their family in the day and have a good family time. We do plan on insulating the entire thing for noise reduction. We need for this to be done the right way so that we don't affect our neighbors and, more importantly, we don't affect the residents in the area. Because, again, in a conditional use permit, we have to renew that every year, and we want to make sure that we have that nice relationship with our neighbors, right? Because if something were to happen, hey, you know what, I saw somebody parked there overnight, they didn't really look, real, like if they had good intentions, or again, vice versa. If something happens with one of our neighbors, hey, we had a camera, we can help you out, we can provide information, let's do it, right? At the end of the day, we're neighbors with them as well, so we want to maintain a positive relationship with them, and that's why we want the C3, so we can apply for the conditional use permit.
And thank you so much, Mr. Rios, for coming forward and being as articulate as you've been to explain, part of your project. Obviously, we don't try to delve into the details of what it is. From a standpoint, we're kind of way up here at 30,000 feet trying to look, how does this blend into the character of the neighborhood? How does it go with the flow of the neighborhood? And that's the concern I have, because you do have the rear yards of each of those neighbors touching base with the property that you own. Trust me, we are the last board on the face of this earth that's going to try to interfere with local business and developers in our community, as our mayor reiterated. But we also have to take in concern and consideration of the residents that already live there. And I do understand that no one objected. Is that correct? Or there was just one person. But also as commissioners, we're the mouthpiece for the neighborhoods in each of our respective districts. And this one does, is within my district. And, we like to maintain the characters of those neighborhoods. It's not like 1980 and 85 where there was orchards and fields out there, right? And so over time, it's getting developed, right? And we're really big on trying to organize commercial development where it's orderly, where it fits within the character of the neighborhood, where you provide goods and services like retail shops, ice cream shops, I know this right up the way is a oil change place, so it's a variety of businesses, right? But here, if it was on a corner and you had other commercial development, I don't even think we're having this discussion.
Now, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Sure.
What the brick wall that we mentioned earlier, would that have anything to do?
Those are requirements that go beyond this hearing, the zoning part. We don't concern ourselves. We have to look conceptually. This is C3 zoning that you're requesting, right? And we know that there's this laundry list of type of services and goods that could be offered, right? There's a reason why it was already C3L, because it already knocked out certain types of businesses from operating there. And to be honest, I think it probably should have been a name of commercial, like a C2, which is a less intense use, right? But that's not here or there. But I believe that, at least from my perspective, C3L is appropriate for where it's zoned. But the concern I still have, it's still allow a fair amount of laundry list of types of businesses that can operate there.
Now, in those businesses, wouldn't we need a conditional use permit?
Again, we're not going to go into that. We have to look just objectively at the entire list that could go there.
Okay.
And we're certainly not going to corner you in and say, you have to do this. That's not our role. So we have to just look, again, broadly speaking, looking at the neighborhood, and I have to look at the character of the neighborhood to see, is this type of rezoning going to fit in, meld in, and not make any future conflicts with the surrounding neighborhood? And so, Mayor, my position is that it should.
Sure, no, I understand. And we all have our varying positions, and that's why McAllen does well. And my concern is that if there was only one concern by all those people and was notice given properly, if notice was given properly, and then it goes to P&Z and P&Z approves it, then we're pretty much substituting everybody's judgment and doing whatever we want. And in a sense we can, but we have to be careful about that. Then what's the purpose of P&Z and what's the purpose of putting out the notices if we're gonna do just what we think personally? And that's what makes it a little difficult. I understand that it's a neighborhood, that it's surrounded by neighborhood, but I also understand that it's Ware Road. It is one of the most traveled streets there in McAllen. It has the potential of having to grow good businesses there. So that's the other balancing thing we have to do.
Mayor, I make a motion to deny the request, the relief requested by the applicant to rezone from C3L to C3.
I'll
You
second.
know what, at the end of the day, the CUPs require, if whatever business goes there and they don't, do whatever they need to do to reduce traffic noise or whatever it is that concerns the neighborhood, we can always jank it out. It's one of the things that the mechanisms that we have in the city of McAllen. So we have to think about that as well,
Can you not operate the event center with a C3L? No?
Yeah, that's really the only reason why we want the C3. We have no interest in having any business that's going to affect, our neighbors and really give a bad image to the city. We want to make sure that everything's done the right way, and as the mayor mentioned, it is Ware Road, and,
How many square feet of the proposed center is for event?
For the event, we have about 3,000 and then about 1,000 for storage. It's just for small events.
The whole center is 3,000 square feet?
For the event center or for the shopping center, I'm sorry?
For the shopping
The
center?
shopping center is about 10,000 square feet.
10,000, so 3,000 would be the event center.
Mhm. And then 1,000 in the back for just storage, like keeping tables and cups and different stuff like that.
And that cannot be in the 3CO.
It is
I
a
think
C3.
that's still a little bit out of the scope of the decision here today. It is a rezoning request, right? So that is what we have to consider.
Yeah.
And as Commissioner Zamora stated, 3C L and 3C, the difference in the businesses that can go in there does affect the makeup of the surrounding area. I'm also leaning towards, the mayor stated, it is Ware Road. It's a major commercial thoroughfare. A lot of times people buy homes near commercial tracks, and those tracks eventually will get developed, right?
No, if the objective here, Mr. Garcia, if you correct me, if the objective is just to build retail space and office space here, it's permitted under 3L, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can get a C3 with the limits of businesses that are, not of a nice place to put it?
Unfortunately, Mr. Rios, that's not something that we can entertain at this time in the way the item was presented to this Board of Commissions.
Yeah, because when they told me to fill out the paper, it was, they had a reason for it, and the reason was the event center.
I understand.
Yeah, so.
I completely understand.
There's mechanisms to change that, and I'm leaning to vote for the C3, but of course, the majority is going to speak.
I think there was a motion in a second.
You do have I was going to say, you do have a motion and a second on the
Any
table.
other discussion, any more discussion? Okay, motion and second to, I guess, deny the zone change. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
So that was what?
3-2, in favor of the motion.
3-2?
Right,
How you voted, Tony?
I voted to keep it 3CO.
right.
Okay.
So you have 3 votes to keep it, 2 votes to approve the zoning
Motion
request,
passes.
so it fails. Right.
Sir. Okay, next item.
It passed or it failed, I'm sorry? It got denied? Okay,
Got
thank you very
denied.
much. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
I'll make
I
a
need a
motion.
motion to amend the zoning ordinance of the city of McAllen.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Consent agenda, we have items A through M. We pull anything out?
We almost ran out of letters.
Right.
Motion to approve.
I'll second, but I'll abstain from item 2M5.
Okay, so noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Mayor, the next item is 3A, consideration of extension of nuisance abatement agreement. We received a call this afternoon requesting that this item be tabled.
Okay.
Motion to table. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
B is a award of contract for the purchase of 25 thermal monocular imaging systems with selected options for Texas RGB tag.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, we bring to you an item for your approval for the purchase of 25 thermal monocular imaging systems. These are for the use of the anti-gang unit that operates out of McAllen. This is a grant-funded expenditure. It is through a NAMIA contract, that is a co-op contract, and the total amount is $99,206. We ask that you approve it.
Questions?
So moved to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
C is a award of contract for the purchase of 2 aerial bucket trucks for camera surveillance for health and code enforcement.
Mayor and member of the commissioners, this is for the purchase of the 2 aerial bucket trucks that are under our capital improvement funding and our ARPA funding. Each bucket truck costs $162,500. and we have the money. I ask that you please approve this.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
But only if I can operate it.
D is award of contract to B2Z Engineering for services on the widening of Second Street, Jackson Avenue.
Mayor and Commission, good afternoon. Staff recommends award of civil engineering services to B2Z for the topographic survey, right-of-way mapping, data, and utility matrix. The proposed design would be funded from the TERS to start the design of Yuma Avenue from Second to Jackson Road. Staff recommends again approval of the award of contract, work authorization 1 for civil engineering services, contract to B2Z for Yuma Avenue in the amount of $149,986, and approval for the city manager to execute agreements for work authorizations 2 and 3 in the future, and we open it up for any questions.
Any questions?
What is the length of the roadway improvement?
It's about a mile long. It goes from Second Street all the way to Jackson Avenue.
To Jackson.
Jackson Road, sorry.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
E is consideration and approval of change order number 3 for 2018 bond group C1 and C3.
Again, change order number 3 consists of the reconciliation of quantities for Martin project, along with the unforeseen manhole and field drain, including the repair of the adjacent storm sewer outfall for the Comasian 11th project. The engineer, along with staff, recommend approval of change order number 3 in the amount of $37,773.73 with 23 additional calendar days, and we open it up for any questions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
F is consideration and approval of change order number 2 for the Gumwood Avenue sidewalk improvements.
Mayor and Commission, change order number 2 consists of additional traffic control, SW3P, additional curb and sidewalk to terminate connections, and work associated with the realignment of the sidewalk to avoid utility conflicts and mailboxes. Staff recommends approval of change order number 2 in the amount of $40,968.60 with 39 calendar days. The project is funded and covered, and we have the available funds to cover the change order by the Community Development Block Grant, and we open it up for any questions.
You scared me there. I think there's a typo on change order number 2 on the item summary. I think you put an extra set of zeros instead of the 60.00. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
Question? No, make sure you're right.
But I mean, it just kind of freaked out.
So
But I
as
understand
long as
it's
the first
40,000,
decimal's
not
in the way.
40, right? As long as, yeah, the decimal.
It's because it's a revised contract amount, the 405,000 with 118.
Right above that, it says 40,000, 968.60.00.
Okay, I apologize for that.
No, don't worry. It looked like millions of dollars instead of thousands of dollars. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries.
G is consideration and approval of MOU for Development Corporation, Inc. of McAllen. So this item, Mayor, went to the Development Corporation last week. What this does is allows the city of McAllen to use Development Corporation funds for the incentive package that we approved for La Plaza Mall many years ago. We are committed to make payments once they reach a certain threshold. They've gotten there, and this allows us to use the Development Corp to do it.
This was done back then?
Yeah, so in the agreement, for some reason, the agreement stipulates that the city of McAllen will use general fund, okay, to make the payment when and if necessary. And we think that we should make that decision instead of the agreement dictating where the funds come from.
I see.
It was very successful. That's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
It was
This is
very,
a
very
good
successful.
thing.
I make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 4.
4A is providing for an amendment to the posted speed limit on 29th Street between Business 83 and Galveston.
The current posted speed limit between Business 83 and Galveston is 30 miles an hour. The speed limit is 40 miles per hour between Galveston and Expressway. The Traffic Operations Department conducted a speed study that determined the speed limit should be posted at 40 miles an hour for the limits discussed. The item comes with a favorable recommendation from the Citizens Traffic Commission Board. Staff recommends a posted speed limit of 40 miles an hour on 29th Street from Business 83 to Galveston, and the data is included in your packet, and we open it up for any questions.
Any questions?
I saw the data.
I like
30
this
to
one.
40?
Huh?
30 to 40?
From 30 to 40, sir.
Motion to approve.
Yes, so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Second one's in.
B is providing for an amendment to the posted speed limit on McCall between Dove and Nolana.
This item comes from the Texas Department of Transportation. They recommend consideration to post a speed limit along McCall Road between Dove and Nolana Avenue to reflect the average 85th percentile speed. Traffic operations staff conducted their own study that recommends a speed limit of 45 miles an hour for the segment discussed and comes with a favorable recommendation from our Traffic Commission Board. Staff, along with the Traffic Commission, recommends a posted speed limit of 45 miles an hour for McCall Road from Dove Avenue to Nolana Avenue. The information is included for your packet, and we open it up for any questions.
So what's the limit right now?
Right now, it's at 55 miles an hour. All the recorded speed limits that we have are 45 miles an hour. So currently, traffic's already traveling at 45 miles an hour.
But so, what harm is there in going 55 and let's
Keeping-
say there's less traffic, right, later in the evening?
So
Why don't we just adjust?
what happens? So what happens is there could be a speed differential. So if someone decides, right now we already have all the traffic going at 45 miles an hour, and I decide that I want to go 55 miles an hour because that's what I posted, and now you have a speed differential of 10 miles an hour, it seems that's okay. But what happens is when you're coming a lot faster than the slower traffic, that becomes dangerous. And so what you're trying to do is post at what's reflected out there and what 85% of that public is
I
traveling.
guess this intersection right between Nolana, Violet, Dove, they all have lights, it's heavily traffic. I don't really believe most of those people are going 45 because that's the speed limit. I think they're going 45 because that's the fastest they can go
Because of the amount of
with
traffic.
the amount of traffic, yeah. So, does TxDOT, TxDOT made this request, right?
Yeah, if we decide that we're going to leave it at 55, they won't change it.
But
it
TxDOT
comes-
doesn't get upset if we say.
They won't hold it against us?
That's the only thing.
No funding
Well,
problem?
they are engineers.
Gotta ask it.
They are engineers. They may feel similar to me that we're not doing what's the safe and prudent thing to do.
Oh.
My recommendation, the reason, and I fell in line with the traffic department is we're already going 45 miles an hour, and the odds of that increasing to 55
If the traffic
highly
gets-
unlikely.
So I don't want to cut you off.
I didn't like
Sorry
it.
about that.
If the traffic gets very, very busy and the average speed is 35, are we going to reduce it?
We could possibly restudy.
No,
it
that's
and
not
bring
true.
it back.
So is there,
You
is
wanna
there
go
any
the other
negative-
way.
Is there any negative repercussions
Repercussions
to
from-
us from TxDOT?
No, I don't, I've seen other jurisdictions not recommend it. If you choose to make a different recommendation, we can look at this in a year and talk to TxDOT that we want to study it further.
So, Eduardo will tell you, I didn't like it. I told Michelle and Eduardo, I don't like this
Traffic-
recommendation.
Traffic Commission had a discussion about this. I showed up to Traffic Commission. They did have a lengthy conversation as today. At the end, they voted along with staff, but it did have a lot of questions similar to this.
Guys, 'cause we're trying to get from point A to point B as fast as possible.
We want to get to the mall in 10 minutes or less.
We had one speed increase and one speed reduction.
Which way-
I knew it was a little contradictory when I brought it. To
Which way did my daughter go on that one?
She had questions.
There you go.
This is a resolution? No.
Can vote it up or down the table.
I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendation on this one.
To reduce it?
Yeah, to reduce it, 45.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second? Dies for lack of a second.
I'll make a motion to disapprove the recommendations brought by staff and TxDOT.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
One.
Motion carries, but I think I would have preferred I'd table it or leave it that way instead of going against TxDOT. But
We'll find out. No, it'll just be more
Now you
tickets.
tell us. Now you tell us, man.
Thank you, TxDOT.
More tickets for
I got your back, TxDOT.
Item C.
Got your back.
Item C is a budget amendment to the Development Corporation budget for economic development incentives. These two items were approved by the Development Corporation 2 meetings back, and the budget amendment was approved last week, and the City Commission has approved the funding for the two projects. We recommend approval.
Does this relate back to the MOU we just approved?
No, this relates to the deal that we made.
We're still negotiating those, and if the commission has specific questions, I'd be happy to address those in executive session.
Very good. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Against? Motion carries.
5A is Immigration and Respite Center report.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, the immigrant drop-off numbers from CBP and ICE are increasing at present. 2 weeks ago, we had 767 drop-offs, and then this last week, we had 1,429. So the numbers are increasing. We have not seen triple-digit drop-offs since December of last year, but that's what we've seen here every day in the last week. So at current numbers, we expect next week will be in the 2,500 range drop-offs for the week. Our average in terms of COVID positivity over the last 6 weeks is 1.4%. 2 weeks ago, it was 1.6, and then this last week, we're at 1.7% COVID positivity. Ansel Duas Park, however, remains in standby mode. Catholic Charities has been able to absorb the number that we're seeing without the use of Ansel Duas Park, so we remain in standby mode out there with a capacity of 1,000, and then we could increase that quickly if necessary. Then, of course, May the 11th is the proposed end for Title 42, so we remain anxiously waiting to see what will happen. The information is that we could potentially see large increases in numbers coming across at that point, which is a familiar tune. And so we're standing by. We do have some briefings scheduled for later this week with CBP, and we'll remain in contact with our regional and federal partners between now and then to see what happens. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Agenda items, future agenda items.
Yeah, let's make sure just, Mayor, that El Rancho RDF Park and drainage ditches, update walkable trails come back to workshops since we couldn't talk about them this week.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, I've been approached by a couple of members of the Golf Course Advisory Board. It was brought to my attention that some years back, I think about 12, 14, 15 years ago, there had been a discussion for either a remodeling or renovation or maybe a reconstruction of the clubhouse at Champion Lakes Golf Course. I know that we're kind of getting into budgets, but maybe this is something that we can put on the horizon down the line to see. It was a project that was envisioned some years back in light of the amount of, I guess, prosperity that we're currently experiencing, and sometimes we can be a victim of our own success, that we can try to upgrade some of the facilities there at the golf course.
Okay. Anything else? If not, we'll go to item number 6. It's tabled. Y'all want it off, or?
We're ready to come back on it?
Is it ready to discuss? Okay.
We have a recommendation.
Okay. Make a motion to remove said item 6A from table.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries, off table.
Mayor and Commission, as if you recall, due to the escalation of cost, staff was seeking direction from City Commission on the design of the median. Staff has reached out to TxDOT, and they're acceptable to modifying plans and reducing landscaping and/or pavers. We would need a coordinate with TxDOT. At this time, we put 3 recommendations. The 3 recommendations are recommended meeting with landscaping paver in the amount of $1,900,056 with $204. That's the full project. The second recommendation is a meeting with landscaping pavers and staff to work with TxDOT to value the project to an amount of $1.5 million. City staff will still be responsible, or city will still be responsible for overruns if necessary at the time of bid. And the third recommendation would be a concrete median at no cost. Staff is recommending option 2, which is the middle ground between what we currently have budgeted and the 9.5. We think directing staff at $1.5 million, having us go work with the design, bring that down in a budget, and then seek bids at that time. that's our recommendation. We open it up for any
But
questions.
you're talking about having pavers and everything, but the city more involved in it.
So we would have to go back and probably reduce areas that have pavers, and that would become concrete, and then strategically put landscaping and pavers only in areas, highlight areas, maybe closer to the intersections, or if there's good middle areas where we could landscape. So we
And
would
the
direct our
savings would be
transport,
about 400,000.
try to cut off about 400,000 from the project.
How do we explain to the people in the north that the area in the south looks nicer than the north, and the north is the newer part?
That remains to be seen.
Yeah, I don't,
Hey,
something said I see what the mayor says. I don't see a major difference between the one, let's say 1.6 and 1 or 2 million. And recently I saw some areas that have the pavers and the landscaping. I think the picture that y'all put as the example for that in the package actually does a little bit of a disservice to what it could look like. Because there's some really nice ones with different types of plants in that kind of little center sections. And so they've got flowers, a plant. It looks a little nicer than the picture. And then I saw some in Hidalgo coming off the bridge that kind of go into the city. There's a part there, I think that was probably some in conjunction with TxDOT that looks really nice. So I'm actually now really leaning towards doing it right and doing the pavers and the landscaping. From option 2, I would recommend back to option 1, honestly.
Second.
Was that a motion?
That was a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Oh, sorry, there's a.
Oh, sorry. Okay, what was that? We'll take it back.
This isn't automated here.
No.
You
We'll
gotta
take it back.
look
There was
around
discussion.
here.
I thought well, yes, sir.
No, it was a vote.
Oh, that was a vote.
It wasn't a discussion. It was just a
Okay.
vote.
You confused us there.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm sure the people in the
Sorry
north
for all
are
that
very
back
happy
and
about
forth.
that.
No, appreciate it, thank you.
That'll be nice.
Let's see, we have now executive session. We'll recess into executive session.
Like this? This?
And we're back from executive session. Council, what do we have?
Mayor, with respect to item 7A, I recommend the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the mayor and city attorney to prepare and execute any and all documents reasonable and necessary to complete the evaluation of the city manager, as was discussed in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
And with respect to item 7B1, Mayor, I recommend the City Commission take no action.
Is that all we have?
That's all, Mayor.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Regular City Commission meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Meetings are rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on the McAllen Cable Network.
Budgeted to receive $14,588 in 2023. Commissioners approved a supply contract with Performance Metal Works DBA Proform of Winsboro, Texas, for the purchase of various size dumpster floors with unit prices as follows: $232.14, $349.24,